Is it easier for a man or a woman to get sex?
I'd say a man.
For a woman.
Yeah, for a woman.
A man. Yeah. I'd say.
Woman.
I say woman.
But it's not like they're accepting it as much as men.
Man. 100%.
Man.
Man.
A guy.
I'm a little confused by that question, but I would say a guy because they don't respect it.
I think for women.
Why is that?
I think if a man was like, hey, I want to have sex, people would be like, okay. But if a woman was like, hey, I want to have sex, people would be like, oh, who?
If you don't have too high expectations, you always can go home with a man. But even when you have low expectations as a man, it's hard. It's harder than to go home with someone.
Just from my experience, like I'm quicker to like deny a man. Like, you know, men try all the time. I get a lot of attention from men, and I'm just like, you know, no, you know, I don't know. But if I felt like if I don't know. I would say women.
Men are more of the pursuers in it, where like a woman could just be like chilling, and then a man is just like, what you doing? Like, and stuff like that. I feel like women chill more, whereas men pursue it.
So you think that men get sex easier?
I think it's easier for men to get sex. Like I'm not necessarily saying that it's not more available, I guess, for women, but it's more like okay.
Okay, that's correct. It's not frowned upon for a man to sleep with multiple people, if that's what you're saying. Where it is if a woman does the same thing, but the reason that is because it is easier for a woman to attain sex.
That's why you think that's the reason?
That is one of the reasons.
Anytime a guy goes out to a bar, it's probably most of the time to find someone to bring back to hook up. Anytime I go out to the bar, it's just to have fun with my girls or to talk to someone and make a connection. I know that I'm not going to find my husband at the club, but I'm just saying, just because I go to the club doesn't mean that I'm trying to go home with someone.
So it's easier for men to get sex?
Yes, because they are easier. Like, I think girls are a little more selective and picky.
If women are more selective, wouldn't that mean that they're the ones with more options?
Yes, but I think guys will take whatever option they have.
So guys, in essence, have low standards?
Yes.
So if guys have low standards, that's because it's harder for them to get sex. Wouldn't you agree?
Okay, when you put it that way, yes, I agree with that.
Okay.
I feel like it depends on what the setting is. Like if it's like at a bar setting like right now, the closer that it gets to like closing time, you can see every man like so like glazed in the face, like trying to make contact with any woman that they can. It's like, how fast can I strike up a conversation just to get them back to my place?
So if a guy is having to wait outside the bar because he's desperate to get sex,
Yeah.
is it because getting sex is easy as a man? Or wouldn't that mean that it's actually hard because he has to wait outside to find whichever one who might possibly give him a piece?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I don't know if it's hard or easy for a man to get sex. I think that for sure the answer would be it's more wanted by a man at the end of the night to like get sex out of the whole thing.
Right.
But
How is that so?
Because they just have to go on Backpage.
But they have to pay for it at that point, though.
Yes, they do, but they do it.
Do women pay for? Okay.
Hell no.
But a man has
Hell
to.
no.
So
we don't gotta pay for that.
So how would it be easier for a man to get sex if he has to actually spend money to get it?
Way easier.
How though?
Because they don't have to go through this stage of talking, number one. They don't have to go through any effort. It's just a quit,
But
like Amazon.
if it's easy for a man though, he wouldn't have to pay to get it.
But that's the thing. That's why it's easy. Because all they got to do is throw $20 and get a blowjob.
It's easier for a woman to get sex
Why is that?
because a lot of guys are thirsty. They thirsty, and a lot of men will have sex with anything.
So if it's easier for women to attain sex, is it surprising that men would have lower standards?
No, of course it's not surprising. I mean, it's sad. Like, everybody should have standards, but I get why men have lower standards.
Men do have lower standards.
It's not surprising that men have lower standards.
No, it's
I'm not surprised by that.
I'm not surprised by that.
No, I don't think so. It's not surprising at all. But I mean, I can't talk for men, but I think women can have a longer time of period without sex than men, to be honest.
Madeline, what are your thoughts?
I don't know.
What do you know?
Nothing.
Oh my God.
No, because I think a guy will have sex with a girl whether they, like, regardless of their standards. They'll have sex with anyone that wants to have sex with them.
If it's easier for women to get sex, is it surprising that men would have lower standards?
Men are the one who are wanting the sex with the women. I mean, if it's low standards for them, for a woman to have sex without a man, who are the women having sex with? The men.
In a perfect world, that sounds like it would be accurate and correct, but in reality, that's not how it goes.
How does it go in reality?
In reality, in my experience, and a lot of the girls I know experience, we're out there just trying to have a good night, and a guy forces himself on you, and he won't take no for an answer. Or if he seems totally normal, nice guy, you're into it, you go back, and then he starts to give you the ick, the creep, and you're like, no, it's just aggression. Like, honestly, half the time, we feel unsafe to say no to someone, and we feel like we have to go along with it, because if we don't, it's kind of scary. It's hard for a woman because sometimes we feel like we have to just go with it, and it's hard to get out of a situation that we don't want to be in.
What's the longest a man has made you wait for sex?
I don't think none of them have made me wait. I think it's always been more of like, I'll make them wait.
So if that's the case, how do men get sex easier?
Okay, maybe you got me there. Maybe it's not easier for them. Maybe it's that they want it more, and so at any time that they say that they give the green light, like this is me saying yes, that they have it.
What's the longest a man has made you wait for sex?
0 seconds. Nobody's made me wait. I'll make the other man. I'll make somebody else wait. Like,
we're in
nobody's
charge.
made me wait.
Yeah.
I'm not answering that question. I'm not answering that question.
Do men typically make women wait? Or is it usually the other way around?
I have had somebody make me wait.
He's never made me wait for sex. I've made him wait for sex.
So, using your own rhetoric, how would it be easier for a man to get sex if women are the ones who control access?
That's not true. There's been many times where I don't want sex, and guys don't take that for an answer. We can't control everything.
Why do you think men are shamed for not being able to get enough sex, but at the same time they're shamed for trying to get sex?
Are men shamed for not being able to get enough sex? Is that really a thing?
Yeah, 100%.
Who's shaming them?
It typically comes from other men.
From other men?
Mm-hmm.
Why do men care about other men caring if they have sex?
As a man, typically, you go through puberty. Oh, man, if Johnny's the most popular in school and he gets all the bitches and he's cool, but, oh, you don't get no bitches, you're not cool, right? But, hear me out. But when men try to approach women and get sex, there's, oh, you're thirsty. Why are you bothering me? Why are you being a creep?
No.
You don't think so?
No. It's who you are, how you're doing it, the way in which you're doing it. Your intent screams louder than you think. Mm-hmm. So it's not even like actions and words. Like, people can like smell the intention off of you. And so thirsty is when I just watched this guy talk to 3 other girls, buy one of the girls a drink, she turns and talks to her friends, and then I see him walking up to me. Then I'm like, okay, clearly I could see what you're doing and the moves you're making at this bar. But if I see somebody who's like casually walking around, sees me, then wants to like make a conversation with me, great conversation. But if you're then now talking all about your like car or your app, then that becomes different. Then I'm like, you see what I'm saying? So it's not only actions, communication, but it's intention, and that's all very visible.
I think women are more ashamed to have sex, because I think like if a man has a lot of sex, he's like, yeah, he has a good value, and a lot of persons want to have him. And if a woman has sex, she's a bitch. And that's the wrong thing at the first place. So just to have this said. And I don't think that a man who wants sex is less worth than someone who has more or less sex. I don't mind that, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just the ways how you get it.
Yeah.
So if you're respectful and so on, it's always okay. But if you're disrespectful, then it's not alright, so yeah.
Why do you think that men are shamed for not being able to get sex, but also at the same time shamed for trying to get sex?
Because other men shame them. They're like, oh, bro, you didn't hit that girl, or oh, bro, you hit that girl and
Men
she's
are
not good.
falling into standards that they created themselves.
Yeah.
Literally. The standard of, oh, I don't get hoes or I don't get that was created by men. You guys are fighting yourselves.
But that still doesn't answer the question of why men are shamed for trying to get sex.
Why are they shaming themselves? If you guys are so worried about that, then stop.
Guys make fun of guys more for not having sex when girls don't give a shit at all.
If they're being shamed, it's from a guy because girls don't hear from that. So that's why we're a little confused because we're not from that standpoint of where we're like shaming people for their decisions.
Like, let's go out, and if you don't have sex with a guy, you suck. We're like, let's go out and hang out with all our girlfriends, have fun, and that's it.
We don't go out to meet people. We go out to have fun.
Maybe meet people, but not
meet people, but not those kind of people.
And I feel like guys go out and they're like, oh, I'm gonna hook up with a girl.
Goal. It's like
tonight.
their goal, and if they don't obtain that, then their friends make fun of them. But girls, we don't have. That's not our goal. So it's hard to speak on that.
Women are shamed for getting sex. I feel like we're labeled as whores if we want sex. I feel like men get no shame for wanting sex.
Incorrect. Men definitely get shamed by women for going after them, like you just said. Or this guy's being
respectful. If it's respectful, and if there's a no, if they take no for an answer,
right,
then that's totally fine.
I think what you're trying to say is that most women are shamed for having too much sex, quote unquote, right? Yeah. Do you know what an incel is?
Yeah, can you define incel?
Okay, so an incel is somebody who's involuntarily celibate. They want sex, but they just can't get it. Who do you think is more likely to be an incel? A man or a woman?
A man.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you think that is?
Statistics.
Anything else?
No.
Just statistics. Like what statistics?
Just statistically, more men have been incels.
A man is. I'm like a man. Because you might want sex, but you, like I said, you don't want to be called a rapist. You don't want to look like a thirsty or creep guy. Because nowadays, you look like a creep guy coming to certain women. You can be like, hey, how you doing? You look nice. Ooh, this guy, this and that,
A man.
Okay.
Either.
Let's dive deeper into it.
Honestly, either man or woman. You're asking difficult questions to position to a specific sex because a lot of it is to either sex. Like if you think about, there's again so many traits, personalities, types of people. It is very possible that a man can't get sex the same way I can grab a girl and she could be like, yeah, I can't get sex either.
Sure, but let me ask you this. If we were both in the club and we both raised our arm and said, hey, who wants to have sex with me? Who's more likely going to get it? Me and you. We're side by side and we do that. Who do you think?
Me.
Okay. They're going to be like, yo, this nigga's creepy. Why is he doing that, right? Okay. So we can agree that men would be more likely to be in incels, right?
Sure, yes.
So if women control access to sex, is it fair to shame a man for being an incel?
I would never shame anyone for
anything.
Yeah. I don't know. It's not fair.
I wouldn't shame anyone.
I would never shame someone for that.
Nah, I don't shame nobody. I don't believe in bullying. That's a form of bullying in my belief system. I don't believe in laughing at nobody or drugging nobody. I don't believe in that.
I wouldn't say that it's appropriate for anybody to be shamed. I don't think that anybody should be shamed, and if that is the outlook currently in society, I don't think that we should even be looking for women to fix the problem. I think that we should be looking to society to be like, hey, this is the problem. We should fix it all together, you know, to not have this kind of like outlook on life or on men or sex in general.
Right. That would be victim blaming.
Yeah.
And that would mean that any man who got rejected by a woman would temporarily become an incel.
Possibly, could be.
Yeah.
A temporary incel? Stupidest thing I've ever heard.
You don't think, why is it stupid though?
It's stupid. What do you, like, what? Like, just because a woman doesn't want to have sex with a man, then he's an involuntarily celibate? Sorry that, like, a woman, like, his autonomy is, like, such a big deal. Go find somebody who does want to have sex with you.
But if a man is approaching a woman, the end goal is to have children, right? Build a family, right?
All right, if the woman doesn't want him, then go find somebody else.
That's not the point I'm saying, though. If a man is approaching a woman, the end goal should be to have a family. Wouldn't you agree?
That's not
especially, what I mean majority-wise, though.
No, even
I'd
majority-wise,
say
men want more sex.
the opposite. The majority-wise 2022, like, our generation's having less and less kids.
Are people going to get into a relationship and not have sex?
Of course they'll have sex.
Okay, so a man is looking to get sex out of a relationship.
Sure.
Okay, so that would mean that if a man gets rejected, that he would become temporarily an incel. Why? Because he wants to have sex with that girl, but he's not, hold on, but he's not going to get sex from that girl, which would make him an incel. Wouldn't you agree? There's nothing wrong with that. That's just the way it is.
Sure.
I wouldn't even call them a victim. They're just not having sex. Like, and that's the thing.
It's not that serious.
Yeah, sex is not everything, and that's another difference between how a woman works and a man works. Like, men, again, very very physical, very visual creatures. Like, sex is not the most important thing in a relationship for a woman.
No.
Again, I'm speaking for most women, and you know, it's about the emotional connection. So again, I'm not gonna call someone who's not having sex for a couple years a victim. They're just not having sex.
Well, there's a difference between somebody who doesn't want to have sex and they stay celibate, and then there's a difference with somebody who's involuntarily celibate, who tries and tries and tries, but they just can't get any. Because in society, you have men who shame men for not being able to get sex, but then women also shame men for trying to get sex. He's thirsty. He's a creep. Why won't he leave me alone? He's bothering me.
I mean, if he's not leaving a girl alone, that's his problem.
If it's to that point, then they're most likely a creep. They're most likely a creep if it's to that point.
So why do you think it's so hard for men to get laid?
I feel like they don't try to build real connections. They're just trying to find a quick hookup. And because of that, like, you know, some women will do it, but then some women won't. Yeah, I think they just try to find an easy lay and stuff like that.
Is that why it's harder for them, though?
No, it's just like women and men think different. Men are visual creatures. Like, they just go off of like what they see visually. Women, most women, I would say, not everybody's the same, but we would generally like a mental connection with you, emotional connection with you before we actually go into that level of intimacy. But with the men, like I said, they're very visual, so they don't really necessarily need that. But that's why I feel like it's harder for them to like try to get laid, as you said.
Right.
As you say, yeah.
I don't think it's hard for men to get laid.
Why do you feel that way?
Like I said, I think if a guy walks in and they're like, oh, who wants to get laid? This girl? Okay, I'll go home with her.
Yeah, if a guy walks in and he says, who wants to get laid, they're going to look at him and be like, this guy's a creep. Get him out of here.
Not necessarily. If he comes up...
In what case is that humanly possible?
Well, if he's talking to a girl for a little bit, and then he's like, I don't think girls have the backbone to say no a lot of the times.
Are women doing men a favor by giving them sex?
If I'm gonna have sex with you, it's because I want to. It's not because I'm doing someone a favor. We're not gonna go out of our way to have sex with someone to benefit them. I don't give a shit about the man. I don't care. I'm not doing him any favors. If I want to have sex with someone, it's because I want to have sex with someone. It's not because I'm doing anyone a favor. I live for myself.
No, it shouldn't be a favor at all.
Yeah. Wow. Like, I mean, wow. No. Because I think, like, Okay, because I think like if you want to have sex, go for it. But if you don't want to have sex, don't do it because you want to have a favor or because you want to give someone a favor. That's like totally wrong. Don't do it. Do it because you like it, and then go for it. Have fun, have a good time, but never, never do it because you think someone else like it.
And that's what the people have to say here in Charlotte about modern dating and lonely men and sex. So, give us your suggestions down below in the comments. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, if you haven't already. But we're going to wrap this up right here, guys, on The Desirable Truths. So you already know, peace, love, sleep in grease. Like, share, and subscribe for more vlogs, videos like this one, because osazevlogs.
I know that you're drunk. Yeah. Tell me what you want after this club. You know you're nasty. Don't move around in my house.